We now have Abha Adams and the panel joining us for a live discussion on what is our future, voices of students, parents, and teachers. Abha Adams is the owner of Abha Adams School Development Consultants. With her, we have Richa Agnihotri, Principal, Sanskriti School, Delhi. We also have Arman and Shrutika, grade 10 students from IT School, joining the panel. Over to you, Abha.
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to everybody who has joined us. On behalf of all those who are gathered here today, a very, very warm welcome indeed. Our session is What is our future? That is a big question. And we hear from two students of grade 10 from I Teach School in Pune, and very, very shortly. And we also have with us, wearing three hats, Richa Agnihotri as parent, as educator, and as the principal of one of the leading institutions in the country, which is Sanskriti School. So we thought that we would introduce ourselves a little more, but alphabetically. So since I am the AB, I'll start. My name is Abha Adams. I'm an educationist, and I started my career in education, teaching at my alma mater, which is Lady Shri Ram College in New Delhi. I took off after 6 years of teaching to pursue my passion, which I hope young people everywhere are going to do, and followed it to do another master's in theatre arts. Was very fortunate to spend time in the UK working with the media and arts management, but even more fortunate on coming back to this country to be associated with two major institutions as director of the Shri Ram schools in Delhi and as advisor to Step by Step School Noida. But I've put that behind me, and I now work in the development sector and as vice chair of the Ahvan Trust, working on strategy and policy in curriculum and teacher development with various state governments. So welcome again, everybody. Arman, you're next because you're the next A in line. अपने बारे में बताइएगा सबको.
Hello everyone, this is Arman Bhola, a 10th grader from IT KRJ, and I am mostly passionate about becoming a teacher because अभी की परिस्थिति में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बच्चों को स्कूल छोड़ना पड़ रहा है and we have government school but still the students are unable to so when I will become a teacher I will make sure that the literacy rate of India is significantly growing.
That's wonderful. Arman, thank you. As a teacher, it just makes my heart burst with pride. Richa, over to you.
Thank you, Arman. And yes, I agree with Abha. It's an absolute pleasure that you want to become a teacher. So, more power to you. My name is Richa Agnihotri. I'm a physics master's in physics, and I joined. I was 15 years. I worked with the international curriculum at the British School, taught physics at all levels, and moved on to Step by Step School, where I set up the international curriculum, both the IGCSE and the IB, and then decided to work a bit in leadership and education, and I'm now currently the principal of Sanskriti School, Chanakyapuri. Extremely passionate about the teaching of science, and I think that's been something which I worked on all through my career, and love being with children. Absolutely empowered by being around children. So I think teaching is my calling, and I'm so happy to be a part of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Richa. Shrutika, please unmute and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I think Shrutika is having some problems with her audio. Shrutika, please unmute. There is a connectivity issue. May I just say a few words about Shrutika, because she shared it with us earlier, that she is now, after grade 10, going to join junior college, where she is going to study medicine. And her aim is to be a cardiac surgeon. And why? Because lives matter to Shrutika. So Shrutika, can you hear me now? I think not. So let's move on, and we'll bring Shrutika in just as soon as her audio and video start to function again. Richa, if I could turn to you, as an educator and a parent, the NEP has arrived. We hear from UNESCO that 290 million students have been out of school for this year. And the NEP brings a little ray of hope, or does it, in the midst of this pandemic? What do you think are the major shifts that the NEP has shown us? And what are the gaps, in your opinion?
I think the shifts and the gaps are sort of parallel to each other. So I'll sort of talk about all of them. I think the big shift is moving from content based, knowledge focused education to more competency and skill based education. The NEP talks about developing skills, 21st century skills like critical thinking, collaborative working, and all of that. So I think that's the big plus and a very progressive move forward. Having said that, there is no strategy or a plan or an implementation still visible. Neither is the NCF out yet. So I think the details of that will really tell us how the shift is directed and how it will move forward. So that is one big plus, I think, in the NEP. The second one is about teacher education and about the B.Ed colleges. I think that's a big step forward that we have one identified that this is an area which needs to be developed, which needs to be worked on. And I hope that the new curriculum and the new kind of colleges that come for teacher education are more progressive, more contextual, and more related to education, sort of, abroad, as well as the West, more progressive forms of education. The third is assessment, where they've talked about moving from, sort of one kind of assessment, which is paper pen, to a more holistic and a more diverse form of assessment. So again, we'll have to wait to see what the NCF says. We'll have to wait to see what the strategies and implementation processes are. But definitely a step forward. And I think, like every educator, I'm looking forward to see what's going to come next.
That's wonderful. But now let's hear the young people. I think we're still having trouble with Shrutika. So Arman, can I turn to you? आपको क्या लगता है कि NEP में क्या पॉइंट्स हैं जो आप सोचते हो ये बढ़िया है और क्या कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं जो मिस हो गए हैं? अरमान,
NEP में बिग शिफ्ट्स आए हैं जो कि है कि अभी पहले पहले हम सिंपल फिजिकल लर्निंग करते थे, लेकिन अब ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग करते हैं, which is mixture of virtual learning and physical learning. Means it can help the student to means कि वो अब टेक्नोलॉजी को भी एक्सप्लोर कर रहा है और अपनी पढ़ाई भी हो रही है.
अच्छा, तो पर एज अ स्टूडेंट आप किस तरह की शिक्षा चाहते हैं? किस तरह का करिकुलम चाहते हैं जो अभी नहीं पढ़ाया गया? सब्जेक्ट्स किस तरह के होने चाहिए?
दीदी, एज अ स्टूडेंट मुझे ये लगता है कि सेंसिटिव टॉपिक्स जो है वो हमारे करिकुलम में ओपनली एक्सप्लोर होने चाहिए. टॉपिक्स लाइक sexual education, menstrual education, and reproduction education, so that we are not hesitating. Means जब जब हम ये सब लाइफ प्रोसेसेस के चैप्टर एक्सप्लोर करते हैं तो स्टूडेंट्स स्टूडेंट्स मीन्स हेजिटेट करते हैं शेयर करने के लिए कि
अच्छा,
कुछ कुछ गलत बोल दिया तो क्या हो जाएगा. तो ऐसे टॉपिक अगर हम लोग के करिकुलम में होंगे तो हम लोग आधी नॉलेज लेके कम्युनिटी में भी नहीं जाएंगे. हम लोग पूरी नॉलेज के साथ कम्युनिटी में जाके अगर हमसे कोई पूछेगा कि ये क्या होता है तो हम उसे बिना हेजिटेशन के एक्चुअल मीनिंग बता पाएंगे.
बढ़िया, बढ़िया अरमान, thank you. Richa, your thoughts as an educator and as a parent of two young people who are stepping out into an uncertain world. What are the areas that we should be teaching that we're not teaching?
I think Shrutika is able to join. Abha, do we want to try Shrutika first?
Okay, Shrutika?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think the one Shrutika is.
Shrutika,
Pata
can
nahi.
you hear us? Richa, carry on. We'll,
Okay. So I think one of the things which is becoming more and more crucial and very imperative right now is digital literacy and media literacy.
okay,
Especially in the present format of blended learning that Arman talked about, or online learning, there is so much information there, but I think children are not aware on how to access that information. Even adults are not. So I think media literacy and digital literacy are big areas that should be a part of the curriculum, and it isn't an individual subject that needs to be added on, but it is the concept of helping children explore explore different areas, how to access information, how to validate information, how to be sure that what you're getting is, how to be aware of different perspectives. That's a big part of the curriculum that should be added. The second one is about collaborative learning and
mm,
working in a collaborative format. So that's more about a development of a skill on how to work collaboratively. So that's an important part. So both of these will actually should be a part of every subject that is taught in the schools. And so every subject should be taught with a view to talk about media literacy, which is where research becomes a very important aspect of education. So I think we need to bring in research in a very big way across subject areas, so that both collaborative learning as well as literacy, media and digital literacy, become sort of essential components of our education system. So I think these are two big areas which really need to be
which still
taught.
have been missed. I'm going to move to pedagogy. अरमान, आपको और श्रुतिका को मेरी ये क्वेश्चन है कि आप किस तरह टीचर को पढ़ाना चाहते
या दीदी, जैसे कि अभी हमारा स्कूल ऑनलाइन हो रहा है, लेकिन जब हम फिजिकल स्कूल में थे तो हम आए मुझे क्या लगता है कि टीचर को हमें कैसे पढ़ाना चाहिए जिससे वो जो टीचर पढ़ाए वो बस 1 साल या 2 साल के लिए नहीं, वो हमेशा के लिए हमारे माइंड में रहे. इट शुड बी लाइक टीचर शुड नॉट बी स्ट्रिक्ट, टीचर
अच्छा,
शुड बी फ्रेंडली. टीचर को हमेशा स्टूडेंट के साथ फ्रेंडली होना चाहिए जिससे कि वो डरे नहीं, कुछ भी डाउट्स हो गए तो वो करेजली शेयर करे टीचर्स के साथ,
okay,
और वो जो टॉपिक है वो हमेशा के लिए याद रखे.
okay, okay, okay. ठीक है. श्रुतिका, क्या आप सुन सकते हो हमें? Can you unmute?
Yes, Didi.
How would you like your teachers to teach you?
Didi, if we talk about physical schools, we want the teachers to speed up their teaching so that they can keep the engage the students are engaged in the classroom, and also they can have a quick MCQ rounds between the teaching so that they'll make sure that students are paying 100% at, focus on the what the teacher is teaching. And in virtual class, you can allow the students to put on their camera so that teachers can see that what they are doing and what the parts they are doing during the work is assigned to them.
Thank you. I know this is very hard, Shrutika, because your line is still giving trouble. I'm going to now move to a very sensitive topic, और वो है mental health के ऊपर. India has one of the worst records of being the nation that is the most depressed in the world, with the highest rate of student suicides. And we know as educators that there is a rise in anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and even self-injury and self-harm. As an educator, Richa, have you seen this escalate during the pandemic?
Definitely, absolutely. I've seen it escalate across, and in fact, interestingly, today when I went to school and I met some parents who had come for board verification, they all had this one thing to say, that we want schools to start again. Although they're all very anxious and nervous about sending them to school whenever they start, but I think children do not have any let up. They have no outlet for physical
Hmm.
any physical outlet, social, emotional, they have just no outlet, and it's very difficult to be confined in a space only with adults. So you have nobody, you don't have you don't have somebody to share what you're feeling, what you're going through. I think even wandering aimlessly in school, chatting with whoever you meet, all of those are, they're really required to relax and to think, and all of that is missing. So that's a big part of what is missing. The other one which I feel the pandemic has really brought about is the social media, because you're not meeting friends, you're not going out, you're not playing, then the only way to interact with people is through social media. And I think it has its own repercussions. So the pressures that you feel in social media, the kind of subtle bullying that happens on social media, the sort of the self esteem gets affected, the haves and the have nots. Everyone is constantly aspiring to something which they never probably ever aspired to, but suddenly you feel, and I just don't see that with the children. I also see it with adults. Everyone's making banana bread, and everyone's making fancy projects, and learning a new language, and you wonder what's wrong with you, why aren't you doing any of those things. So that is a big part of the reason why children are going through this anxiety. And of course there is this fear of what's going to happen to my future. So the class 12 children are saying, this is going to be my last year, this is going to be my fun year. I would have had an investiture, there would have been a farewell, a different kind. Can you imagine my last year in school and I'm not in school? So these are some real pressures that children are feeling, and my heart goes out to them. And I really, I mean, I'd like to say this to every adult, that we really need to be with them and we need to support them. Most importantly, we need to talk to them and hear them. Not talk down, but talk to and hear them, because they have lots to say. They need that space to say it without being judged. So yes, it's a very important part of.
श्रुतिका, आपने वेव किया है, इसका मतलब आपने सब कुछ सुन लिया. तो मुझे ये बताइए कि what do you feel? Is there this feeling of anxiety and concern amongst your peers, amongst your friends? What is happening?
As the virtual world is very much getting addicted to the students, but some
Oh dear.
educational purpose, but they are also using some of the different sites to interact with the friends, which is like जिसका cause हो रहा है कि teachers से interaction कम हो रहा है, and because of which study
श्रुतिका, आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल टूट रही है. Arman, I'm coming to you
causes
next.
anxiety.
Let's just pause there for a minute, Shrutika. Arman, आप बताएं कि are your friends, those whom you know, facing anxiety? उनको भी इस time में, हाँ जी, yeah. Are they talking to each other? Are they talking to their parents?
Yes, दीदी मैं ऐसे
This
नो
is
कि
so.
लॉग है कि हमें घर पढ़ाए.
Arman, आपकी आवाज टूट रही है. Just check your internet connection again.
घर हमें
Shrutika, I'm coming back to you. Can you hear me now? Can you? So just unmute and let's pick up the threads of the conversation. We have precisely 4 minutes left.
Yes, Didi.
Go ahead.
Can you repeat, Didi?
Yeah. So are children feeling depressed or anxious during this time?
Yes, Didi, I think because they are enclosed in the house since 6 months, they might be feeling inferior because they can't share their feelings to the familiars, and as they are not able to meet their friends, they are becoming inferior, and maybe they are hiding something, which is also causing mental health and which is also affecting their physical health as well.
Okay. Um, Finally, because now it's almost time to go, and I'm feeling so sorry that technology has let us down, because I can assure you, those who are listening in, that the children, when we had informal discussions, had so many ideas. And I'm just heartbroken actually that in Bachon Ki Awaaz Aap Tak Nahi Aa Rahi. But one last question. We hope that this session is called Listen and Learn. And if the powers that be, governments, heads of institutions, parents, and adults are listening to what we are saying, what do you want them to learn from it? Shrutika.
Didi, as you, I know that there are some parents who are watching this. I have a message for everyone. Like, if the parents are watching, I would suggest them to go to their children and ask them about their problems, if they are facing their problems. And I would also suggest the students to reach out to their parents, as there is no one who can help them in this situation.
Okay. So you are wanting
They will
parents to
suggest
reach
them the
out
best
to their
solution as
children
possible.
and children likewise. Arman, would you like to add something there?
Yeah,
Boli.
Didi, as not only parent and student are watching this, teachers and means more people are watching this. So I have a request to them that means Didi, I want them to take away more thing from this session, that ki never they should never give up, and they should not regret themselves that they can't do something. They should believe that they all are teachers, like the everyone teach us something, like the shopkeeper teaches us math, वो
Huh,
दीदी
bilkul.
पैसे देने में हम लोग मैथ सीख जाते हैं, गार्डनिंग जो करता है उससे हम लोग गार्डनिंग करना सीख जाते हैं, टीचर से हम लोग को फ्यूचर का रास्ता पता चलता है. तो आई वांटेड देम, all the parents and teachers, to motivate their children to work hard and achieve success in their life.
That is a wonderful, wonderful thought. Shrutika, agar aapki connection अभी ठीक हो गई है, तो would you like to add something very quickly before I go to Richa?
No, Didi.
No, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही श्रुतिका. I am so very, very sorry. Richa, will you pull this together? What I mean, you know, the very courageous and brave attempt to put their ideas across in spite of technology. When you gather all the strands together, what's coming through?
I think the most beautiful part about this conversation has been that children are very resilient and they're survivors, and they manage this world much better than all of us. So I have great belief in youth and in children, and I have absolutely, I mean, I'm absolutely sure that we will come out of this pandemic and we will make the NEP a success if we involve the children really the way they should be involved. So if you really listen to what this young boy and this young girl have to say, I think it's important. And so one of the messages that should come through is that everyone is different, every child is unique. And so you cannot assess everybody in the same format, you cannot judge them in the same way. So we have to look at varied ways of assessment. I mean, appreciate the diversity, and that is the way to move forward. Having said that, children will find a way to win the world whenever they can. So all the best to them, and thank you so much for having me here.
That's Richard. Thank you. You actually summed it up. Arman and Shrutika, the adults that are here, who are here not just with you virtually, but jo bhi sun rahe hain, dikh rahe hain. We wish you, we bless you, and we salute you for your courage and for your faith in your teachers. If we could restore the role of teachers to what it used to be, I think that would be one small step towards making the world right. But uh, all the very best, even though this is your last year and you are not celebrating as you would. Your exams are coming up, assessments are coming up. We wish you the very, very, very best of luck. Richa, Shrutika, Arman, Thank you. And to all of those who had joined us for this conversation.
Hello, Didi.
Abha, thanks a lot.
Now we
I
have to
want
go.
I wanted to share my greetings.
Okay, if we have time.
Didi, I am very thankful to the Firki team, Abha Didi, Richa Didi, Prerna Didi, and all all the collaborators and organizers for initiating this type of session where I can share my thoughts globally. Thank you.
Arman, thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much and good afternoon.